I think one thing that companies might face some challenges with is that a lot of people have the desire to become managers because there's some notion of prestige associated with that. And I think there definitely are disadvantages of being okay with that and then making a lot of people managers. Because at the end of the day, I believe that a company has to solve the problem of what is the least number of managers we need, not not managers we should have or somehow based on how many people want to be managers. What is the least number of managers we need in order to make sure that the company is able to execute and make progress smoothly? And I think that number is very different from the number you would arrive at if you ask people, hey, in order to be happy, do you want to be a manager? So I think the prestige aspect is a tricky one because sometimes that's unrelated to compensation, but maybe that kind of runs into a personality fit issue where if somebody really wants to be a manager, regardless of whether that role pays more or less, even let's say, just for the sake of an example. And if the company doesn't need managers, that's just a personality fit issue. But if it's more because people think that, oh, they should become managers because they need to get paid more, I think the company needs to do a better job at explaining that to people that that's actually not true. And that way, right, the company stays sort of lean and productive, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
And
interesting thought about how that it's not like a natural progression to just become a engineering manager, especially if you're coming at it, especially as an IC that is sees it as like a obvious next step for the wrong reasons. So it makes a lot of sense how some companies can be very bloated and have a lot of management when it could be better to better serving the company if a lot of these very high performing ICs continue down that track and see that there's still value in them continue on the track that they're on.
yeah, and another myth is that engineering managers are just ICs who have now people reporting to them. That is also not true. The role of a manager is very different and it serves a unique purpose where you have to pay more attention to things like resource allocation, keeping the team motivated, hiring, retention, focusing on growth of employees, finding roles for them that will let them grow or they will find interesting and stay motivated in and things like that. And this stuff is not what ICs do at all. In fact, there's a lot of people who would not enjoy worrying about these kind of things. And I think because of that, sometimes what also happens is that people become managers because, I don't know, it seems like the right thing to do. And then find out that there's all this stuff they need to do now, which they don't really like doing. So I think maybe just companies should, if companies do a good job explaining that, hey, it's a different role, after all of those main priorities that you have, your team's doing well, people are motivated, you're hiring well, and everybody understands what exactly needs to be done and why. If you have time left over, yeah, you can do IC work. And if you're interested in that, but it can't be the other way around where you prioritize IC work, but then people in your team like don't understand what needs to be done and why. They don't feel like somebody's listening to them about their growth and things like that. So I think good companies do a pretty good job at making sure that doesn't happen, where people become managers and don't like what they're doing and as a result don't really do a good job. Unfortunately, I think that happens more often than it should.
If you enjoyed this clip, make sure you watch the entire video, which has a lot more content just like this. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any of our episodes where we talk to leaders in the tech industry, from software engineers to product managers to engineering manager, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and also click the notification bell.